Hi, my name is Violet Price. I've been making 2008 style video blogs, and today I wanted to tell stories from when I first started making music videos. It was the most exciting time in my life. There's nothing I love more. There was no happier time in my life, hands down. I was working with people I loved. I was making art I loved. I had cheap rent and a job I did not hate. I was supporting myself independently through music videos, which was a fucking, like, I felt really fucking independent. And, you know, when you don't have diabetes, it's easy to support yourself financially, isn't it? As soon as that changed, but that's a different blog. Maybe one I should never tell, because who wants to fucking hear about that? How crass of me. I wanted to tell stories about music videos. And when I first started making music videos, I was so eager to do it and so eager to get experience and get to just turn on my camera and shoot and edit that I was willing to work for anyone for next to free. The first two I made were free because I felt like I needed a reel to represent myself. And the first videos I did were rap videos. I had a friend who got a job at the census. It was 2010, 2009-ish. And they met this very hoodie fella who was like a real hustler, one of those Oakland hustlers. And he heard we made music videos and he wanted to connect us with his rappers. And it was funny he was such a hustler because the first time he came over to our house to kind of pitch and vibe, he brought over these like high school kids who were super wholesome. And we hung out with them and we pitched them ideas and like we did whatever. And we were like, we'd happy to make videos for these guys. But then when we made the video, he showed up with his like much thuggier, much older, much more intense friends, which was ridiculous because we were fucking stoners in our 20s who like our entire shrine was like our entire living room was like a shrine to Gucci Mane and like Deep Cut G-Unit and like Screwston. Like we were into the gangster shit. We weren't like, oh my God, you're from Oakland, which isn't even that tough of a place. People in Oakland say it is, but like, I don't know. Is it the trap? I ask you. Is it the dirty South? Is it Screwston? You know, Oakland did not seem very tough to me. It seemed like, anyway, not to like shit talk on Oakland, but I'm sure there's bad parts, but I'm not intimidated by some gangster rappers, especially when I'm doing them favors and we're like collaborating. So the first dude we made a music video with, it was really interesting working with these guys because a lot of rappers don't like understand or don't want to understand video. They'd have a vision in their head. They'd be like, shoot me in the club. And you'd be like, it won't look like a music video. They like those clubs. That's the most expensive thing in the world. Or they'd be like, I just want something simple. Shoot me against a white background. And you'd be like, shooting you in front of a house is simple. Like renting a studio and lighting it infinite white and getting your lighting right and taking a whole day is the least simple thing we could do. But what was interesting is a lot of the things they would put their foot down and make you do or like demand you do, and you'd be like, whatever. Ended up accidentally being good. Like I remember one guy wanted to be shot in front of the house he grew up in, and we were like, me and my friend Matt who were making the video, were like, it is very dark. It will just look like mud. Like we'll shoot it because you wanted to. But then what happens is like, and that shot was unusable, like go figure. But sometimes they'd have you shoot something and it was something you would never do. And then it would just end up cool because it was like wrong and breaking the rules is cool. And then you get obsessed with breaking the rules and it's a whole thing. And it was a really interesting way to come up. But the best thing about this video was I went to like an artsy school at like college. I had a very like suburban attitude of filmmaking at that point in my life. And I remember we were driving around. He had the sweet Cholo mobile. Is that a term? Like a Cholo car. It was like neon green convertible, bucket seats, this beautiful car. And I remember we were driving down the Mission. It was, I want to say like 28th and Mission. It was at like Marquee. That used to be a movie theater, was now a rib place, or it was last I was there. And I was like, oh man, I wish you could shoot there. That'd be so cool. And he's like, stopped the car, got out, 4 guys with guns, I guess his gang, just locked down the block. Anyone walking by, they're like, yo, my boy's shooting a video here, fuck off. The owner came out, he walked right back in, and he was like, yo, you want to shoot? And I was like, this is amazing. And then we just like drove around and like we shot it and like the gang backed me up. And then we just drove around San Francisco. I'm like, I want to shoot there. And we just jumped the fuck out, we'd shoot. And if anyone fucked with us, my gang would deal with it. It was sick as fuck. They were waving guns around in the street too, and I'm like, I feel completely safe here. Like they pointed a gun at the camera. Like I've had cops point guns at me. It was terrifying. These guys were pointing guns at me. I'm just like, fucking rap music is sick. Like it was probably the most fun I've ever had. Definitely the most exciting to have a gang at my disposal. Be like, I need this shot. Go gang. fan out. The one place we couldn't get is the one to shoot in a grocery store. Those places are weirdly locked down. Anytime I've ever tried to shoot a grocery store in like minutes, there's like a weird law about shooting in grocery stores that all the managers are hip to. I don't know. That was a sick video. The second video I made, this guy whose name I won't say, he literally went to jail halfway through shooting the video and I never finished it. And when we were shooting it, he asked to use my cell phone. And I like, whatever, sure. And then for months after, people would call me and be like, I know you know where this guy is. We're going to come and get you. And I'm like, I let a guy use my phone once. Like, I doubt you could find me by. And they did not find me. Yeah, and that was the shit. I'll tell one more video quick. One more story. This one's a totally different type. When I was doing Craigslist videos, which are worse than rap videos are all garbage. I mean, everyone knows rap videos are always a nightmare. But worse than that are Craigslist $100 gigs. I remember I found a gig on Craigslist. It was $100. Come shoot me for an hour at the beach. Sure, done. And I remember she called me up and said, "Hey, like, it's only $100. Why are you taking this job?" And I was like, and out loud I was like, "Oh, I just like think it's fun to shoot videos and it's fun." But in my head I'm like, I desperately need $100. I live off Craigslist, dude. Like, it's $100. It's like, it's not a great day, but I'll fucking take it, and it sounds easy. So I took the job, and they lived outside the city then. I didn't have a car. You didn't need one in San Francisco usually. So I took like the weird buses with the 3 numbers, and I get out there, and I finally get to her house, and like she's like, "Oh, my boyfriend who's supposed to drive us there won't be here for like an hour, so we need to hang out." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll ready this job." It's taking longer than it's already a rip-off. And so we're sitting there, and she's like, "Well, I imagine you Googled me before you came." I was like, "No, I didn't. I don't think to do that. Maybe I should. It's probably unsafe of me, but I didn't do that." And then she goes, "Well, now that I've said that, you'll probably Google me." And I was like, I just like want to do my job and go home. It's like, well, it's better. And then she's like, "You better see it from me. Better see it from me first, because it's just, I need, like, let's just," and I'm like, okay, like, whatever this is. So we go on YouTube, and she pulls up this 2020 or 60, I think it was 60 Minutes. And they did a special that was, like, defending pedophiles a little, which, listen to the whole story before you judge. And I guess what she does is she stalks people online. And she would stalk pedophiles, but the pedophile she picked was, obviously I'm not defending pedophilia, but it was one of those situations where, like, she had just turned 19, and they like were 17, and it was like, and they were like, and it was consensual, and it was statutory, and like years later they still were friends. It was like the most, like, of all cases. If I were going to stalk and murder pedophilias, I would find a more egregious example to target myself. But she had targeted these people, and was like, had a psycho look at her eye in 60 Minutes, like, "Why do you do that?" And she's like, "All pedophiles must die." And you're like, "Okay, lady." I guess it was kind of QAnon, like way before QAnon, that sort of mindset. But then she shows me a video she made where she was like dressed up as a baby girl with the like ridiculous like red Raggedy Ann stuff, and she was in a giant crib with like a lollipop, and she'd be like, and she was like a rapper, and she was like, "We are the children, don't molest us," and it was like very uncomfortable. I'm like, "Oh, they probably did you wrong," because like then she's like, and she'd pause it and be like, "That isn't as bad as it looks," and I'd be like, "I don't know, I don't have a car, I can't get away. It seems like I hate pedophiles, boo, like you seem rational. This seems like something you should be doing with your free time rather than, I don't know, anything else." So then we go through this whole thing, and we finally get to go to the beach. Her husband comes home, who's the guy who's married to this girl, I'm wondering. And he was just this guy who was like a veteran who was just like, "That's my crazy wife. I guess I got one at least." They were a dorky couple. They were like, she was just going crazy. He was like, what are you going to do with this lady? And we get lost on the way to the beach, of course. And then she's like, "Why don't we do it in a graveyard? Like, I'm being hired by a Christian band. I'm not even Christian, but like they eat it up for money. Let's go to a graveyard and we'll sing." And we're walking through the graveyard, and she's like talking to all the people. And at this point, like, I'm so fucking sick of this bullshit that I shot it like very Tim and Eric style. I had like the super wide 14 lens, and I shot it from like on the ground low up at her, like moving back and forth, and she was like into it. This video exists on YouTube. I won't link it because like I'd rather keep this as anonymous as I can. Although if she sees that, it's a funny story. It's been 10 years, I get to tell it. So, I mean, I do make this insane video that I recently found and was like dying of laughter. And in the video, for some reason, like I was shooting B-roll. I was like shooting out the window because I was bored. And it's like they're talking about veterans, and there's like this moment where I'm like shitting on veterans. But then find out he's a veteran and like 180, and I'm like, oh, I was saying it because I love it. Like I don't, whenever I love, and like that, like made it into the video as like a pro veteran like intro. I think the editor was fucking around too. I don't know for sure, but it felt like it. He seemed to get it. How could you not? The whole thing, the footage I gave them was very, make something, don't make what they want, make something beautiful. Hey, you gave me $100 and I love what I made. But anyway, I made the video, and then they couldn't give me a ride back, and my bus was late. For some reason, I had like 40 minutes to kill in their house again. No, we were dumping the card. We were dumping the data, and it was going really slow because they had like the wrong USB. So we're sitting there, and I'm like, hey, well, ready to go home. And she's like, well, show me your music videos. And I made the mistake. I showed her like one. There was like a 25-year-old girl dancing, and she's like, this is overly sexual. And I'm like, oh no, like bitch is coming for me next. And it got really tense. And I went home and I got my $100, but that was like another day in the life of. Then I got back to the mission, another freak in a kingdom of freaks, as my boy Hunter would say, and I was the king of the mission, gender term or not. That's what I was. I feel like God's goddess, kings and queens, they aren't as gendered as people think. I think if you are my ex made a movie called Yes Goddess, and she's a man. And I'm making a movie called God's Country, and I'm a non-binary feminine fairy creature, but for the sake of this, let's just say woman. And the thing about it is, it's its power that's interesting. Anyway, I don't mean to get into my naming schemas, but I was the motherfucking king of the mission, and I always will be. And 20th and Folsom, represent forever. Anyway, that's my Craigslist story and my rap video stories. Thank you for hanging out. It was fun.